Broadcasting live. It's America's longest running talk show on computers. It's Computer America, bringing you the biggest names in technology with guest interviews, new products, and your emails. Listen live at computeramerica.com on any device around the world. Email the show at live@computeramerica.com or find us on social media. Be sure to check out our website for contests, giveaways, show notes, live video stream, podcasts, and more. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome everyone into the Computer America Show. We are the nation. I just turned this on. Welcome into the Computer America Show. We are the nation's longest running nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers and technology turned podcast. Everyone, welcome into the program. I hope that you're doing well. You've had your coffee, which we're still working on. But ladies and gentlemen, hey, welcome into the program. Today on the show we have the one, the only, the venerable Mr. Ralph Bond. He'll be joining us here in just a moment to talk about a number of crazy stories that you might not have heard of, because this week, if you haven't heard, there was an election, and I say this with all my heart. Boy, nothing else was talked about. That is the only thing that dominated everything, which, justifiably so. But at the same time, ladies and gentlemen, there's some cool stuff that you have probably missed, because I know I did, and Ralph does an amazing job going out, aggregating, and finding these and presenting them to you, to these stories that inspire hope and, hey, maybe even change an industry or two. So we'll talk about that in just a moment. ComputerAmerica.com. That's where you'll find everything, past, present, future, everything. Computer America, articles, reviews, show notes. Show notes are super important. Ralph puts a lot of effort into them, and you can find links, you can find more information, and of course the bonus stories at the end, the honorable mentions. So we'll talk more about that later on the show, but ladies and gentlemen, just remember ComputerAmerica.com if you're busy. With that being said, Ralph, let's go ahead and bring him on and have fun with it. So once again, he is our science and technology trends correspondent, and of course he joins us every Friday as best that I can manage, because things have been crazy, but he joins us here once again. Ralph, welcome back onto the program. How you been?
It's great to be back, and what a wild and crazy week. But as you just suggested, what we do each Friday is highlight 4 recent articles that show us key trends and developments in everything from artificial intelligence, robotics, medical technology, sustainable energy technology, transportation advances, agricultural technology, space research, physics, you name it. And very important for this week, most important of all, we're going to give you an oasis of positive news thanks to the world of science and technology.
It's fun. It's fun to think about, to kind of trip down memory lane, that when Craig first started the show back in the early 90s, that, Ralph, like when you have a show about technology, he could talk about he could talk about a few of the companies and monitors, printers, computer, Apple and Microsoft. Right. That's pretty much all he could talk to. And now, you laid out what technology touches, and we, get to talk about. It's pretty much everything. There's not much that technology does not has not improved. So it's just a fun little musing. But everyone, if you don't want musings, you just want stories, that's okay. We'll start with story number 1. And check this out. This is everyone knows that electric vehicles, and due to circumstances here for me, we've been kind of looking at cars, and cars are, there's a lot of different kinds. You could go traditional and you got plenty of options. You could go now electric vehicle, and pretty much everyone makes at least 1 or 2 or 3 different kinds of electric vehicles. There's differences in plug-in hybrids and fully electric and that kind of thing. Ralph has talked on the show about his plug-in hybrid that he has, but by and large, Ralph, even today, even with 10 years of electric vehicles, I would say being mainstream ever since the Prius, well, it's like a hybrid car, but going on from that.
Sure.
But still, range anxiety is like the thing people are worried about. What if my car runs out of battery and I can't find a place to charge it? So extending range is one of the big hurdles in getting people into electric vehicles, and anything that improves range is of course going to be a huge welcome news, and hey, maybe even get people more into these cars. So story number one hopes to tackle that, and it comes out of China.
Yeah, this is really interesting, not only for the range extension part of it that you alluded to, but just a fundamental rethinking of the design of a car, period. So the headline here is China's compact in-wheel engine. Let that sink in. In-wheel engine promises 201 brake horsepower output and advanced EV range. And this comes from Interesting Engineering. This is the first of two stories from this publication I'm going to share this week. But this just really, when I got into this story, I thought, what a great idea. Just amazing. The idea of putting an electric motor at each wheel of a car, not a centralized motor that then has to have all the gear to transmit the power to each wheel, but having a little motor at each wheel. So I'm kind of giving away the story, but what a radical idea for the design of a vehicle. So a side note, though, first I went brake horsepower. I've heard of horsepower, but I'm not an expert in the automotive field. And I said, brake horsepower, what does this mean? Well, it's a way to measure an engine's power, specifically the engine's output before any losses from the gearbox, alternator, differential, water pump, and other auxiliary components. Basically, it's the raw power of the engine or that the engine produces before anything else gets factored in. So that's what this brake horsepower means. And in this case, we're talking about a solution that can achieve 201 brake horsepower output. So here's the deal. China's Guangzhou, I hope I'm saying that correctly. It's Guangzhou. As far as I can tell, it's pronounced Guangzhou. The Guangzhou Automotive Group has unveiled a new inline electric motor, also known as an in-wheel engine, that can revolutionize electric vehicles as we know them. And the main feature of the inline electric motor is that it can be fitted in the wheel of a car, and manufacturers can completely remove gearboxes, drive shafts, and other parts to make the drivetrain more compact or make the overall vehicle much more simple and compact. Now, each game-changer in-wheel motor can perform 30,000 revolutions per minute at top speed, which is much higher than the performance of electric motors used in EVs these days. So it's not only fascinating to put a little motor in each wheel, but that it's outperforms typical EVs now.
I didn't even think about that. That so much of the car really is designed to get the rotation, the power, essentially, the rotation from the engine all the way through the bottom of the car and into each axle and into each wheel. But you don't have to do that, do you? Like that does totally just redo the pretty much the front, or the engine compartment and the underside of the car. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And obviously there's technology underpinning this to coordinate each one of those little motors in each wheel to have them either all be in the same speed or alternate for all-wheel driving, is my presumption. So it's very interesting. And get this, then the motor is quite small. It measures just 330 millimeters in diameter. For us, that's 13 inches, approximately 13 inches. And this increases the chance. I think this is a really important point the author of the article makes, increases the chances of these in-wheel motors being packed into all kinds and sizes of vehicle wheels. And each motor has a weight of just 37 pounds, or for the rest of the world, 16.8 kilograms, which not only boosts performance, but also helps in keeping the overall vehicle light. Ding, ding, ding. The lighter you make an EV that can still work, the longer your battery range. And you combine that with advances in batteries, and you can see where we're going. The in-wheel engine's increased efficiency, reduced weight, and the exclusion of a gearbox and other components can result in significant improvements in the performance of an EV vehicle, as we just alluded to. The in-wheel engine can offer up to 31 miles or 50 kilometers of additional range to an EV, making them even more lucrative. So hats off to the Chinese in this case. They're doing some pretty amazing stuff in the world of automotives, and I just think this idea is just transformative.
Yeah, it's Computer America has had its critiques of China and specifically
sure,
not like political part, but like the technology and kind of the intellectual theft that they do and the mass production and kind of compromising on quality parts and stuff like that. But anyways, Computer America has had their qualms, but I will say, to turn the second largest economy and from the top down, Ralph, like they can really say green energy is our priority. And then you get stories of them producing, hundreds of thousands of solar panels, millions and millions of batteries. It's like they have just turned their entire economy towards green energy, and that is admirable. That is going to help in the long run. And electric vehicles as well. Like it's impressive to see what they've been able to do just by mandating it. So there you go.
Yeah.
But anyways,
well, just by mandating is right.
Yeah.
one advantage of an authoritative society.
You don't really get a lot of options. You don't really get a lot of options, but still, and hey, it's it's a proof of concept as well that maybe other institutions can kind of look at and say, this is going to be something that we can do. And Ralph, like taking out all that weight, if nothing else, allows you to put in more battery, and that can also improve as well. So there you go. Story number 1, you can check that out in the show notes again over at computeramerica.com. Story number 2, we're going to go ahead and drop on over. I say drop because, next story kind of looks like a ball, and it's, drop, throw, toss, yeet, whatever word that you prefer, to kind of throw out there. But this is a 360 degree ball camera. And Ralph, like at CES and stuff, we've seen, little rollable devices that are meant to kind of be little security guards for your home. They can roll around on their own, but they're not full-fledged cameras. They're little balls that can roll, and they have a camera on them. This is something a little bit different, and hey, could make for some very cool shots. So story number 2.
Yeah, this is another article from Interesting Engineering, and also in the show notes, which Ben has been making reference to. If you're listening to us as a podcast, please come to computeramerica.com, because in the show notes for this story, I have other links related to this technology beyond Interesting Engineering. So just a little plug to come out and get the show notes. But here's the headline: Throwable thermal imaging. Subhead: world's first 360 degree ball-like camera for battlefield safety. And there's some cool videos and so forth associated with this. And again, other articles that I have in the show notes. So American technology firm Bounce Imaging recently introduced the Pit Viper 360. That sounds scary. A revolutionary panoramic tactical camera designed to safeguard soldiers in high-risk environments. Now, it's about the size of a grapefruit with a diameter of approximately 4 inches or 10 centimeters. Now, here's the deal. The throwable device will allow military personnel to collect critical intelligence from a safe distance, thereby minimizing their time in a danger zone. Time out, folks. When I read this, the first thing that went off in my mind is, military, that's good. But think of all the other possibilities: fire and rescue, police, regular police, and so forth. This could be hugely helpful for lots of people beyond just combat and military situation.
How many times have we done, stories about search and rescue, and they're developing like little snake-like robots? Hey, just take this, chuck it down, and hey, just see. So
absolutely right. And with its compact size, the Pit Viper, 360 is the world's first camera to combine 6 thermal imaging cores with an inertial measurement unit. And side note, inertial measurement refers to the process of using sensors to measure and track the motion and orientation of an object. These sensors typically include accelerometers, gyroscopes, and sometimes magnetometers. Its robust design makes it suitable for various tactical missions, including hostage rescues and armed standoffs. And again, I stress so many other possible uses beyond military. The Pit Viper 360 is built to be hurled across floors, rolled down stairs, or even launched or tossed out of windows, hence presenting operators with views into dangerous spaces without being directly exposed. Panoramic views. The panoramic views are enabled using thermal imaging so that soldiers can see heat signatures from people or objects inside a room. And at the most recent National Tactical Officers Association annual conference, that must be an interesting group, Bounce Imaging demonstrated the versatility of the Pit Viper 360 by integrating it with Boston Dynamics Spot Robot Dog. And I know a moment ago on your video, you were showing a clip of that relationship. The pairing of these technologies, a robot, enhances operators' safety during military or law enforcement missions, particularly environments that are hard to navigate or too dangerous for humans. So, wow, really interesting stuff here. And I think this, again, could benefit lots more than just the military.
Yeah, for sure. And, that same kind of durability and technology, like I don't know why, when I saw this, it was so rugged. And my first thought was, kind of action cam. And don't get me wrong, they showed some of the video footage in the video. It's not exactly something that you want to be, filming the next great sporting event on, but it'll get there.
Yes.
The cameras will improve. And if you put not thermal imaging, but instead you put, figure out a way to put actual cameras in it that are pleasant to look at, this would be like a great action camera, stick on top of a helmet, or, even just drag it along behind you in some way, while you're, snowboarding or, doing something kind of very active, Ralph. This has applications, like you said, beyond the military, but of course they're designing it for, tactical things. So there you go. But hey, Ralph, how often has a military invention or, purpose been repurposed, and then we get things like, GPS and the ballpoint pen, stuff like that. It's
lots of stuff.
Yeah, it's good. So, but it's very cool. And again, very ruggedized. It's always cool to see, kind of what they're working with. So story number 2, story number 3, we're going to go ahead and, I was just reading an article this morning about toothbrushes and how those bamboo toothbrushes are not actually that much more environmentally friendly than regular toothbrushes. Toothbrush technology, Ralph, I think a lot of people don't think about it often, but once in a while, we'll have on Oral-B or we'll have on Sonicare on the show, and it's a lot more goes into it, because you could just scrub your teeth with a sponge on a stick and call it a day, but a lot of technology does actually go into this. Now, I will say the technology is packed inside your toothbrush. Not so much the stuff that you squirt onto the toothbrush. This is different. I hope the article includes use cases, because I can't imagine a toothpaste-based transistor, but here we are.
Well, of course, and you've hit it on the head. This comes from Science Blog, a great online outlet, by the way, folks. And when I saw the headline, I just went, what? The headline is Edible Electronics Advance, subhead, Toothpaste-Based Transistor Developed. What? And this comes from the Italian Institute of Technology. I couldn't resist this. This is a great story. So the article starts off in a remarkable fusion of dental hygiene and cutting-edge technology. Researchers at the Italian Institute of Technology in Milan have developed a transistor using a common toothpaste ingredient. So it's an ingredient within most of our toothpaste. This innovation marks a significant step forward in the field of edible electronics, with potential applications in health monitoring and smart pill technology. The study, published in the journal Advanced Science, focuses on copper phthalocyanine, which is spelled PHTHALOCYANINE. And I practiced this a bunch, got a bunch of online tutorials on how to say it, and it sounds like phthalocyanine. Okay. And what is phthalocyanine? It's a blue pigment used as a whitening agent in many commercial toothpastes. This substance, which we unknowingly ingest daily, has proven to be a promising semiconductor. What? For edible electronic devices. Huh. So there's a woman named Elena Feltri, the paper's lead author and a doctoral student at the Italian Institute of Technology's Center for Nanoscience and Technology in Milan. She explains the potential of this discovery. Quote, with the amount of copper phthalocyanine we ingest daily, we could theoretically manufacture approximately 10,000 edible transistors. And to plug the show notes again, folks, I have a little insert here from the Institute's website with a little feature about Elena Feltri. She's a fascinating woman and just amazing work here. So going on, copper phthalocyanines journey from toothpaste to transistor is rooted in its unique chemical structure. You got to stop for a second. How on earth did they think to themselves, oh, the stuff that's in toothpaste, wonder what it could do here over there. I wonder if it was artificial intelligence that went through thousands and thousands of ingredients and said, wait a minute, time out. But I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah. It's something that I didn't even, like this, like you say in the show notes, it's something that we theoretically, that we ingest daily and, we don't even really know, because I think we've all read the back of shampoo bottles and toothpaste containers, in the bathroom, but to really understand the 100 plus ingredients, like I'm not saying be concerned about what's in your toothpaste, but at the same time, there's a lot of stuff in there. So maybe transistors in the future. I don't know.
A lot of relatively complex chemistry going on. So going back to good old copper phthalocyanine, the pigment's crystals facilitate charge conduction, making it an excellent semiconductor for organic electronics applications. So the key here is organic electronics applications. To create the edible transistor, the team integrated small amounts of copper phthalocyanine into an existing recipe for edible circuits. So they took current knowledge about edible circuits and integrated copper phthalocyanine as part of the equation. So the device is built on an ethyl cellulose substrate with electrical contacts printed using inkjet technology and a solution of gold particles. And get this, these gold particles, that's a material used in the baking industry for fancy cakes. So a little sprinkle of gold, that's the stuff they
little
use
gold
for
leaf.
this. Yeah, isn't that it's so amazing?
Fun fact for anyone out there, just hey, the weekend's coming up, and if you want to do something really showy, gold leaf, not that expensive. Yes, it's gold, but it's like $10 a container, and you can cover your steak in it or something. Like it's completely edible, doesn't affect the taste at all, but really zhuzhes up the dish. So I recommend it.
Yeah, that's part of this story, I love this story for so many reasons. So going on, it says a key component of the transistor is its gate, made from electrolytic gel based on chitosan. That's CHITOSAN, which is a food-grade gelling agent derived from crustacean shells. Long ago, we talked about this material involved in electronics, so this is not necessarily new. What they're doing is looking at a variety of things that are known and then combining them in a creative way in this solution. It's a little side note from me. This design allows the transistor to operate at a low voltage of less than 1 volt, making it safe for potential in-body use. And you asked earlier at the beginning of this story, what are the applications? Well, potential applications for this include smart pills that can monitor health conditions from within the body. Again, not a unique idea, but could make advances in that field. Ingestible sensors to track medication efficiency and adherence. Now, that's an interesting twist. Sensors to not only track the medication, but track how well it's adhering to the body area that it's meant to target. That I thought was interesting. And then last, temporary electronic implants that dissolve after completing their function. So hooray for medical science. Again, this week we're diverting. Usually I do one medical science story at the end of each session, but today we're having 2.
Absolutely. And just like that, story number 4, also medical. And I've been in a lot of hospitals lately. It's a fun place. But when it comes to health monitoring, don't get me wrong, it has gotten better, Ralph. Now they have a clamp for your finger. They don't have to put the thing around your arm anymore. But it's still. The technology that they're using in hospitals, you've probably seen in the last 15 years. It's, it's tried and true, has to work in all situations. And not a lot of advancement. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure there's advancement every day when it comes to, the ordinary stuff in hospitals, but you've seen it once, you've seen it before. This is something I haven't seen. And it's really cool. Because, hey, the stuff, Ralph, that they put on you can get really bulky, cumbersome, and it can fall off, and it's just not pleasant to be in the hospital with the stuff on. Story number 4 might have a little bit of, might make it a bit more natural, a bit more, I don't mean to inadvertently curse like that, a bit more natural to, do that. So, I apologize. So there you go.
No,
so story number 4.
That's cool. This is a good one. Comes from Science Daily. And it's information coming out of the University of California, San Diego. Those people down there are doing a lot of amazing stuff. But here's the headline. Finger wrap uses sweat to provide health monitoring at your fingertips. Here's the subhead. A sweat-powered wearable has the potential to make continuous, personalized health monitoring as effortless as wearing a Band-Aid. How could you resist that headline and subhead? Like, I couldn't, so I had to dig into it. And in the show notes, again, if you're listening to us as a podcast, come out to computeramerica.com. You can get the show notes, see the images and all the links, and it'll make sense immediately once you see the image. So my comment, we've seen other wearable devices that generate energy from sweat. Ben, we've had a few in the past couple of years that in that field, but this is kind of an interesting new twist. So engineers at the University of California, San Diego have developed an electronic finger wrap that monitors vital chemical levels such as glucose, vitamins, and even drugs present in the same fingertip sweat from which it derives its energy. So It's not only creating energy from the sweat in your fingertip, but it's also using that sweat to figure out things about glucose levels, vitamins, and drugs and so forth. Wow. The device, which wraps snugly around the finger, draws power from an unlikely source, the fingertips sweat. Fingertips, despite their small size, are among the body's most prolific sweat producers, each packed with over 1,000 sweat glands. What? Each of your fingers has more than 1,000 sweat glands. Wow. Who knew? I didn't. These glands can produce 100 to 1,000 times more sweat than most other areas of the body, even during rest. That's a key part of what makes this practical in terms of the energy generation. Your little fingers are doing this sweating, unbeknownst to me, 24/7, whether you're lying down or running.
Ralph, I don't know if anyone out there is listening, and just my hands just got clammy. Just you reading that, like obviously nothing has changed, but my hands just got a little clammy.
I keep rubbing my fingertips, going, well, it doesn't.
I'm just
feel
very aware.
Me.
I'm just very aware of how of like the minute like level of like moisture on my hands.
Yes,
so
yes.
There you go.
And something else. This constant trickle of natural perspiration without any stimuli or physical activity offers a reliable energy source, fueling the device even during periods of inactivity or sleep. The device is constructed from several electronic components printed onto a thin, flexible, and stretchable polymer material. Its design allows it to conform to the finger while being durable enough to withstand repeated bending, stretching, and movement. Wow. One of the lead researchers noted, quote, "It is based on a remarkable integration of energy harvesting and storage components with multiple biosensors in a fluidic microchannel, along with the corresponding electronic controller, all at the fingertip." Wow. Now, one of the things I kept thinking was, how does it generate energy from sweat? Well, let's see if we can find out some more here. It says central to its operation are biofuel cells that are positioned where the device contacts the fingertip. These cells have been specially engineered to efficiently collect and convert chemicals in sweat into electricity. There's so much more going on here. You can dive into the article and get more
we pretty
details.
much just said it collects the sweat and turns it into energy. It's I'm sure the chemistry behind it is very complicated, but I guess it just works, folks. It just works.
And again, we're not talking about, enough to drive your smartphone or your car. We're talking about
not enough to charge your phone like some of the other stories we've done.
No. So this electricity is stored in a pair of stretchable silver chloride zinc batteries, which power a suite of sensors, 4 in total, each tasked with the monitoring of a specific biomarker: glucose, vitamin C, lactate, and levodopa. Levodopa. I hope I'm saying that right. It's Levodopa, a drug used for treating Parkinson's disease. That's interesting.
So they just had to pick a drug to test the device on. So
yeah, and it could be helpful, obviously, for people suffering Parkinson's disease and taking this drug. Goes on to say, as sweat is wicked through tiny paper microfluidic channels to these sensors, the device analyzes the biomarkers levels, all while drawing energy it needs from the very sweat it is sampling. So it's like a double wonderful thing happening just from the sweat of your fingertips. A small chip processes signals from the sensors and wirelessly transmits the data via Bluetooth, low energy, to a custom designed smartphone or laptop application. How about that? So
it's even all this wireless.
Yeah, it even has Bluetooth wireless technology in this fingertip thing. Go figure.
No, I didn't really expect that because I was expecting the device would, essentially have a cord running out the back of it, like a lot of these other, kind of monitoring devices. No, it's completely wireless. That's very good.
That's something. Very cool.
Yeah, very, very cool. So, ladies and gentlemen, and we've had the picture up on the video portion if you want to check that out, and of course the the articles themselves available at the website. But there's so much more to these articles that Ralph only touches on, and each of these within these articles have more references to other places. So please go check out these wonderful Science Daily, Interesting Engineering, any of these other publications that we cover because hey, they do really good work. So check them out. Yep. Now, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, if you've been following along in the show notes, you may notice, hey, you guys aren't done. Get back here. Well, it's okay. Honorable mentions are not meant to be read on the show. They're for you, because, hey, if you take the trouble, go out and find the show notes, then, hey, there's a couple more stories that are not less. They are not worse. They are not, it's not that they're not exciting. It's just we're trying to keep the show condensed into a smaller format. So, for your listening pleasure. So, with that being said, Ralph, we can at least give the nice folks the headlines and tell them, hey, what else they can find if they go out and check out the show notes.
Yeah. And the first one comes from sand.com. And once again, our Chinese friends are doing some pretty amazing stuff. So the headline here is Chinese researchers use solar power to extract lithium from seawater. Huh.
A lot of people don't know that. Cool. Tuna is actually battery powder. It's that's how they are so fast. It's crazy.
The next one comes from an outlet called The Cool Down, which you can access through MSN. A headline here: Farmer develops revolutionary solar-powered e-horse, like clip-clop horse, E for electric, tractor technology. And it's a really cool image of this tractor this guy's created. And it's a farmer that came up with this. You got to love that. Check that out. That's fun. Yeah. The next one is headline from phys.org, which is short for physics. Researchers are commercializing technology to turn waste into plastic-free biodegradable packaging. So we've seen, Ben, so many stories about how can we make packaging that's biodegradable, and they've found a way to turn waste into plastic-free, biodegradable, if I could say it, packaging, which is really could be very, very, very good.
There aren't many issues that are as important as kind of reducing our pollution. So this is a good article.
And then the last one comes from an outlet called Tomorrow's World Today, which is really cool. This headline, irresistible: shape-shifting aircraft could be possible with new titanium nickel alloy. Shape-shifting aircraft. Wow. So you got to check that out. Fascinating stuff.
Yeah, it reminds me of a couple of other articles that we've done in the past couple of years that, shape-shifting robots is certainly a thing.
Yeah,
but hey, this one seems to have the attention of NASA if the picture is anything to go off of. So there you go. So Ralph, I want to thank you so much for coming on the program and, sharing these stories with us. It's always a lot of fun. And there it is. Hey, yep, there we go. So music means that we are about done here, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank Ralph so much for coming on, finding these stories, putting them together, getting the show notes together, and hey, making it easy and simple and enjoyable for everyone out there to listen to, some uplifting news because, times are... things are a little elevated right now all across this country, and Ralph is a good way to, as always, head into the weekend feeling a little bit more chipper, cheery, and ladies and gentlemen, everything is, everything's looking up as far as technology goes. We're very, very happy with that. So, ladies and gentlemen, computeramerica.com, show notes, you can find that there. And until next time, I want to thank you, Ralph. I want to thank the listener and all of these different publications that put out all these amazing articles. We'll catch you here next time. Again, computeramerica.com. Bye, everyone.